Did Washington miss an opportunity by not trading up into the top 10, the top 12, to get their quarterback of the future? 800-636-1067 is the number.
And maybe they could have didn't have to trade up with New York. Maybe they didn't want to do that, intra-division trades, and give them an extra first-rounder.
Right.
But they could have traded up with maybe the Jets at 14 or, the Chargers at 13 in front of New England and get Mac Jones. Who knows?
Taking Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you I wouldn't have taken Mac Jones if he had slipped to 19 because I would just sort of kick that can down the road. I think Mac Jones is good. I mean, maybe he'll be great in the a lot of this is system, right? How they fit in with systems and stuff, and who knows? Mac Jones might be the next guy for New England. He might be the next like Ryan Mallett. I mean, I don't know, but I'm psyched for what they did. I did not want to just mess around with the quarterback. I feel like Fitz is going to be the guy for this year and next year, barring injury. And we'll just kick the can down the road a little bit.
I just keep coming back to they didn't love any of the quarterback prospects
that's
enough
obvious.
to part with the draft capital. So
that's what it was.
Like if they loved one of those guys, if they loved Fields, they may have made a move. But they
You're
didn't.
100% right, Cakes.
So maybe next year they're going to love a guy if they're picking in this same range. If they're picking like 17th to 20th, somewhere around there, maybe they'll make the move next year.
Right.
But the fans don't always agree with the coaches. Some fans may think Fields was there, we could have traded up, but we just give away a first-rounder next year and maybe a mid-round pick. We could have got up to that spot to take Fields.
Fans are generally dumb.
Okay, we're just throwing it out there.
Let's be honest.
We're just throwing it out there.
If you're taking cues from fans when you're running a football operation, I mean, you're just destined to be
no, but here's the point. Fields may end up being a stud. It may turn out great for Chicago. Those fans were going berserko when they made that deal.
Absolutely.
We just don't know.
They're going nuts because of just so many years of disappointment and poor quarterback play. So they see him as a potential savior. So of course they're going to go crazy.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Watson deal. They passed on Watson a few years ago. They didn't want it to happen again with Fields, and so they made up to get him. I mean, Eric clearly Eric has said a zillion times how valuable the quarterback is, and he obviously liked Fields. He gave him an 86 or whatever it was on
84. I like Fields, but I wasn't going to trade up for him. Just wasn't going to do it. Now, if Fields, I said this last night during the live stream, I'm pretty sure, if Mac Jones slipped to 19, I wouldn't select him, but if Fields did, I would. But I wouldn't trade up for him. I think the need for this football team, more immediate, was in linebacker. I think it was a huge need, and I think this guy can do a little of everything. I'm just thrilled to see what he can do. And I actually think I won't be shocked at all if they take like a Mond or a Davis or somebody like that
they could
in the second or third round. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they did that. That's a lower pressure, more chill vibe. It fits in perfectly with having Fitz there. If they went and they selected Fields, and it just makes no sense, the Fitz thing, because the reality is first-round picks don't sit more than like 3 or 4 games. Yeah. So it just would make no sense. Kind of like in Miami, it didn't really make sense. Fitz didn't necessarily get benched for poor performance. He might have had a poor half or something before he got pulled in that one game or whatever, for the next start. But I think he had gotten off to a pretty darn good start.
No, they had a predetermined plan to play Tua, and they played him after the bye week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a bye week.
And it wasn't because of Fitz's play. I mean, I think Fitz's worst game might have been the first game of the season. I think he threw 3 picks in that first week. And after that, he played pretty solid. And, we've talked about some of the PFF numbers on Fitz. He was playing really well.
Right, but
I know, but he's Fitz. I know. I mean, you know what you're going to get with Fitz. He's not going to put up Aaron Rodgers' numbers.
I know
he's just not.
You guys don't care what the fans think, but this city would be on fire if they took Fields. If they moved up like the Bears.
For any quarterback, they would.
Of course.
Sure, because you have your defense, and now you have your franchise quarterback.
The defense is not set. That I'm telling you was a massive hole, Drab. That defense was a little bit overrated. It was good.
Well, first of all, just because you took a linebacker doesn't mean it's fixed.
Oh, he helps a lot. He helps a lot.
I saw a
second flyer on him too.
I saw a second-round mock that has him taking another linebacker.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The kid out of Missouri, Nick Bolton.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, yeah, and
Huge need.
And maybe it's not terrible. Look, Keim wrote about this a couple days ago. Washington's defense ranked second in passing yards allowed per game. So we're talking about this great defense. They gave up a ton of passing yards. They were fifth in total QBR. So when quarterbacks faced them, they feasted. And they only faced 3 quarterbacks ranked in the top 10, none in the top 6. 5 were ranked in the top 16. So when they face top quarterbacks, they may expose the Washington defense, and that's what we saw in the playoff games. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers rolled up over 500 yards against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously they struggled offensively. They just couldn't put enough points on the board. And you do have to score points. So, I know what the mock draft says. I think they'll go, offense here in the next couple of rounds, at least with one of those picks. I don't know. I can see where Drab's coming from. I mean, we just don't know how good Fields is going to be. If he ends up being a Deshaun Watson type, then obviously you missed out. Mm-hmm. But they clearly didn't love him, or they would have made a play for him.
Yeah.
Also, Cake said they clearly didn't love any quarterbacks this year. Well, they missed on a gigantic star last year. They passed on. So,
yeah, but you don't do it that way. You still got to like the guy, love the guy. And just because you missed on a star last year doesn't mean, well, I just got to swing for the fence this time. No, you got to love the guy.
Well,
you got to love him.
I mean, clearly they didn't love him.
Yeah.
Or the price was too high in their opinion. If you want to chime in, 800-636-1067. I think it is an interesting question. Should they have moved up to try and draft Justin Fields?
Hold on, is Drab calling me out because I wasn't carrying the torch for his boy Justin Herbert to be picked second by the Washington football team last year?
What, you think you think Herbert wouldn't have been picked second overall if they did it over again?
Of course he would.
He would be picked first overall, probably.
Of course he would have. But
I mean, predict the future.
Nobody has
a
crystal ball where they could see how silly he was going to be with the Chargers.
Clearly, yeah. I don't know. This is.
Look, Pace had to do this because he's just getting crushed in Chicago for the Trubisky bit, and this is his last gasp at finding
I like it
a franchise
for
quarterback on his way out.
Yeah, I like it for Chicago.
Sure.
To me, it makes sense because I think we were debating this actually before we came on the air. I actually think Fitz is markedly better than Dalton at this point in their careers. For whatever reason, Fitz is playing better towards the end of his career, and Dalton, I don't think necessarily so much. So I think for Chicago, makes sense. Good for them. And I hope Fields hits because I kind of feel bad for him because it felt like, I don't know, I felt like he was being totally disrespected.
The pick wasn't for this year. The pick was for the next 10 years.
Which one?
Just saying. The
Fields,
yeah, the Fields.
No, but I think so you're saying, like, why didn't Washington move up? I think Washington sees themselves in a window of opportunity to be super competitive right now. Right now.
I think they do. And they obviously
And I don't think they necessarily want to throw a rookie quarterback into that mix, to be honest with you.
I'm getting the feeling that Washington, teams like Washington are just taking pitches, and you're less likely to hit a home run if you just keep taking pitches and you don't swing the bat.
They swung for the fences for a guy who some people had rated as a second-round pick, third-round pick. They loved his number. I think they swung for the fences.
Yeah, but he's not a game-changing linebacker. He may help your team. He's not a Chase Young level talent. He's not going to really
he's
move
not
the
a guy
needle
necessarily
in terms of wins.
He's not going to have 10 sacks for you, but he can play all the positions.
I know, but
he
what
can run
Valdez,
sideline to sideline.
I know, but what Valdez and Drab are arguing, game changers are your quarterbacks. And so the question is, do you swing for the fences and go for the quarterback who can help you for a decade versus a linebacker? Sure, he's going to help the team. They need linebackers, of course. That's undeniable. But he's not going to all of a sudden swing them from a 7-win team to an 11-win team.
Maybe none of the guys that were available, maybe none of them were good fits for Scott Turner's offense.
Yeah,
he said, you know what, I'm going to wait. I'm going to bide my time till next season.
All right, let's go to the phones. 800-636-1067. Alberto's on line 5. Alberto.
Hey, guys, how are you?
What's up?
Hey,
good morning.
buddy.
I'm very disappointed in the draft. We should have traded, and we have a coach who's like sleepy. He's very boring, and now I cannot get excited for the next football year because the Washington football team, they just draft nobodies. You know, this is stupid. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I could tell that was a fake. I mean, you could tell his accent was so.
There's
such
no
a
way.
bit.
His name is Bill.
All right, let's go to
Bill from Manassas.
let's go to line 2. Go to Glenn in Martinsburg. Glenn, what's up, buddy? You're on with the Junks.
Hey guys,
Hey, buddy.
I totally agree. Not trading up is the best thing for this year, and the reason I say that is, okay, so maybe you swapped first-round picks, but you're still going to have to give up a second or a third. And in Rivera's eyes, I believe that with the way the league's going, you've got to be able to cover a tight end. They didn't have that. And it's the way the league's going. So you've got to draft a linebacker, one who has speed, can run sideline to sideline, and cover a tight end 15 yards down.
Or running back, as Cakes mentions, a running back coming out of the backfield. That's all the league does.
That's the way the league is heading at this point.
It's where it is.
Yeah, you need that coverage guy, that hybrid type. I mean, he's not your prototypical old school linebacker thumper, but that's kind of a relic. You need the cover guy. You need the guy that can do 5 different things and do them all relatively well. And that's kind of the mold that he fits in.
I just think you guys are acting like prisoners of the moment. When is a linebacker that can cover running backs and a tight end more important than your quarterback?
Nobody's saying it. Who's saying that? But who's saying that's more important than a
They
quarterback?
didn't like the quarterback that much, so you don't push it. They just went through a drama with the rookie quarterback. They're probably holding it against him a little bit that he's from the same system. They're seeing some of the same issues, if you believe what Charlie saw, which is holding onto the ball, not making the quick instinctive reads, and they just didn't want to do that.
I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of buying into it more every day. Maybe Rivera doesn't want a young guy. Maybe his entire tenure here is going to be with stopgap types, Ryan Fitzpatrick, older veterans who still have a few years left.
But does that win you a Super Bowl?
It might.
I don't know.
There's no way it does.
Might.
It's
It
not
might.
going to.
It's an unorthodox approach.
There's
There's no doubt about it.
There's going to be times this year, I'm telling you, all right? There's going to be times this year where you go, man, Fitz was awesome. I'm glad we got him. But there's going to be games where you go, Fitz lost that game.
You're going to do the same thing with rookies.
I know, but with rookies, there's a process. There's a building block process.
It's a much higher ceiling.
And you can say, all right, rookie mistake, but year 2, he's better. Year 3, maybe he's a Pro Bowler. But Fitz is Fitz.
I think Fitz is better than Fitz. I think Fitz is better than the reputation. I think he's playing now the best football of his career.
Yeah, but it's still not that great.
Look at what he did in the last 16 games he started.
His overall numbers are okay. They're not great. They're not eye-popping. They're just not. His win-loss record is not eye-popping. His completion percentage is not eye-popping.
Look at his yardage, his touchdown interception ratio in his last 16 games. It's pretty damn good. I just think Fitz is playing the best football of his career. Valdez even said this, and we were breaking balls. Valdez said he thought that we were a Super Bowl contender. Remember when he said that?
I know. I still think you are.
Okay, thank you. And then all they did was
that's Valdez saying that.
I'm just saying.
Doesn't mean that they're just because Valdez says that they're a Super Bowl contender. Do you think they're a Super Bowl contender?
No, but I think they're good. I think defensively they're good. Yeah. And I think they had a huge hole. They made them better, and I think they actually did a great job in the offseason. I think this offseason for this team, A+. They addressed the quarterback for the next 2 years, so that's fine. Kick that can down the road. They brought in Samuel, versatile, could do everything. They brought in a slot guy who could fill that role if they need that. They'll probably draft another receiver today or tomorrow to fill that room up. I actually really like what they've done, and I'm not huge on Rivera in game and all that.
I just think they're putting too much stock into acquiring a quarterback who's played for every team in the league.
He's playing better at the end of his career. He's one of those rare guys.
Okay, so maybe the numbers are decent for the end of his career, but his overall numbers are what they are.
Eric, I bet you. Let's bet $5 that Fitz doesn't start all 16 games, not including injury. I bet you
that he gets benched for performance.
Benched for performance to start a game.
To start or mid-game.
How about this?
I'll take that bet.
Okay.
All right, size.
I'll take that bet. I mean, EB, you can too. I don't know. You can counter as well if you
Yeah,
want.
got
well,
a
my
lot-
counter would have been, I mean, you could pull a guy if he has a bad half or
No,
something.
I'm not even talking about that. Next game, you got all this faith in a career loser.
Let me see. Let me see who they draft.
Hope we don't
Let
have
me
him on the
see.
show
I'm
again.
not going to make that now. If they pick a guy in the second round, that pressure could build.
I hope Fitz balls
I'll make this
out.
bet. I'll make that bet after the draft.
You know what I think? I think Jason Wright brainwashed you guys at dinner.
There may have been
We
an
didn't even
element
talk
of
about
that.
the team. We didn't even talk about the team. We did not even talk about
He's
how
not
good
a
or bad the
personnel
team was.
guy.
Yeah, we did nothing.
Yeah, but he knows
personnel-wise.
personnel.
He schmoozed you guys
But we
so
didn't-
good.
No,
He is
no.
good at the schmooze. I will say that.
He's great at the
No
schmooze,
doubt
but we
about
didn't even
that.
talk about the product on the field. It had nothing to do with that.